You know, I watch a lot of prepping videos, and one of the things I rarely see mentioned in get home bags or bug out bags or just your preps at home is this. That's right, bug spray. Now, all of you might have some of the, one of these on your kitchen cupboard shelf or wherever you keep your bug spray, and maybe a half-filled one of it in your fishing tackle box. But I'm talking, do you have this stockpiled? Do you have enough of this in case something would happen? So this video, I'm going to explain why I think that's important, what type you should stock, and what is the expiration date. So let's get started. Do you know what the deadliest animal known to man is? Oh no, it's not a mountain lion, it's not a tiger, it's not a grizzly bear, it's not a shark. What is it? Guess what? It's the lowly little mosquito. That's right, the mosquito. Over 1 million people die every year from diseases because they were infected by a mosquito bite. And these mosquitoes also transmit diseases to horses and to dogs. I mean, that's one of the reasons, right? We give our dogs heartworm medicine every year. About 40% of the world's population is susceptible to malaria. And of course, that's mainly in tropical and subtropical areas of the world. Now in the US, we use DDT and eradicated malaria in, I believe, 1951. Of course, using that DDT caused other problems for our environment, but we did get rid of malaria in the US. But that doesn't mean in an SHTF situation, malaria couldn't come back. Here's an interesting picture that shows the disease cases from mosquitoes 2004 through 2016, those that were reported. As you can see, Michigan, where I live, is right in the middle. But if you're in California or Texas and Florida or Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, you are in that top 20% for disease cases from mosquitoes. Now, we do have dengue fever outbreaks occasionally in the US, but in most cases they were brought from a tropical area, so it's not as much of a concern. However, if our temperatures keep getting higher and lasting longer, then we might also be a great breeding ground for the same type of mosquitoes. Some of these diseases, such as chikungunya and Zika, are more brought to the United States by foreign travel. But again, if climate changes, we could be a great breeding ground for those same mosquitoes that infect US citizens when they travel to tropical areas. But there are 2 mosquito-borne diseases that occur in the United States, and not just in the southern region, that I'd like to talk about. And the first one is West Nile. And I think many years ago, remember seeing all the dead birds, right? And we were doing dead bird counts, and West Nile was making its way from the eastern seaboard across. And in Michigan, it hit us pretty hard. Last year, there was 167 deaths from West Nile, and it's a nasty infection that can cause meningitis or encephalitis. So talking about encephalitis, here in Michigan recently, we've had an outbreak of the EEE, and that is the Eastern Equine Encephalitis. And this is the most serious of mosquito-borne diseases. Currently, when I'm making this video, we've had 3 deaths from EEE and more people affected. And I believe last year in the entire nation, there was only 7 deaths reported. So we are at the highest in over a decade here in Michigan. Interestingly enough, a vaccine is available for horses that can get this, but not for people. Let me show you this picture. So this is a picture of Greg McChesney. He was 64 years old and, according to reports, perfectly healthy, happy human being. And he got the EEE and within 9 days of becoming infected, went into coma and died. Now, EEE usually affects those 15 and under and those 60 and older, and we're not quite sure why. Now, many of us might actually have been exposed to EEE and we don't even notice it, or we have slight symptoms, such as with West Nile. But others will get the full-blown EEE, and of those, it's usually 50% fatal. Now, those that survive often have brain damage or other neural problems and may remain hospitalized the rest of their life. Now, I'm going to read this here. Michigan is not the only state that has seen a rise in EE cases. According to the Washington Post, that in 2019, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Connecticut, and North Carolina have also reported human infections. Overall, at the time of this report, there had been 21 cases and 5 deaths from EEE. And that was definitely an increase from the average of 7 cases and 3 deaths. So what's going on? Well, I'm not quite sure. Here in Michigan, we were having a prolonged summer. We're up till this weekend, temperatures were in the low 80s every day, and we still haven't had our first frost. As soon as we get our first frost, that will wipe out our mosquito problem. But it's not forecasted till maybe sometime in October. So is climate change causing this? I don't know. But what we are being told is it is most dangerous from dusk to dawn, because these little mosquito vampires like to get out and bite you when it starts to get dark. So they are moving football games in the inflicted areas to Saturday afternoon and really trying to curb outdoor events just to be safe. And of course, one of the things they say is use bug spray, wear long sleeves. If you don't have to go out at night, don't go out. Make sure your screens don't have holes in them so the mosquitoes don't come in and bother you at night. So the mosquitoes that bite you are actually females, and they're just trying to get blood to feed their young. Both the male and the female mosquitoes feed on nectar for their own nutrition. But because they feed on birds and other things too that can carry viruses, then they can transmit it to you. So definitely a danger, and that is one of the reasons that the mosquito is considered the deadliest animal in the world. So there's really about 4 different mosquito repellents. Here's Repel Max. It's got 40% DET. And DEET is what is usually used in mosquito sprays. It's been used for a long, long time. Supposedly pretty safe. I just remember once when I was with my oldest son, this was probably 20 years ago, and we were in Borneo and we were hiking. And when I was in the States, I had bought some bug spray that was military grade that was at a surplus store. I remember putting it on and I thought, oh, my fingers are tingling. And all of a sudden, my fingers actually went numb. So I don't know if there was just DET in that spray or something else. But DET, 40%, does not mean that this has 40% more strength for using it. What it means is it will last longer. In this case, what does it say? It just says long-lasting protection. So we have Cutter, it's also 40% DET, and it says it repels mosquitoes that do the Zika, the West Nile, dengue fever, and the Chikungunya, I just said that wrong, virus. But anyway, the things that I've been talking about that could occur here in the U.S. Now, this is Deep Woods Off, and it's using something other than DEET. It is using picacaridin. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. A lot of people like this better for spraying their clothes and their backpack and that when they're hiking because it's not as oily and it doesn't have a smell. So it's supposed to be just as effective as DEET. So there's 2 other repellents that you'll see. One is lemon eucalyptus oil and one is IR 3535. Both of them are supposed to be effective, although they might not last as long as this 40% DEET. So is 40% DEET good for your own nervous system? I don't know, but you know what? I'd rather have this protection than be prone to a mosquito who is going to infect me with West Nile or with EEE. Even though chances are pretty low, still, why take the chance? Now, something else that's up is not just mosquito-borne diseases, it's ticks too. And herein the DET says, well, this one doesn't say it. So this repel says it repels mosquitoes, ticks, gnats, biting flies, chiggers, and fleas. And you know what? Tick disease is really up also. So why not have something that does both? Again, be prudent. Use your spray, wear long sleeves, long pants, and if you're in a really, really bad area, you might even want to wear a hat net. And at night, if something would ever happen that it'd be a long SHTF event, you might be spending a lot of time outside, you know, chopping wood or doing other things. So great idea to have this on hand. Also, you might not have any air conditioning, so you're going to have all the windows open in your house with the screens. You may want to have netting around your bed just to be safe from mosquitoes the way they do in jungle areas. So I've told you to stock up on this, but how long does this last on your shelf? Well, according to DEET online, there is no expiration date for DEET or for, I'm going to say, picaridin type based repellent. Some of the other ingredients in these could actually not be as effective. So what they say is about every 3 years you should replace these, but I have an idea that these will last a long, long time on your shelf. And end of the year is a time to get these on sale. One other product I want to mention is, you know, this would be awful big to have in your EDC bag, but you know what? This is a great size, and I have this in my EDC bag. It is the Repel Max. It's 40% DET, and it's just that little tube spray. It really doesn't take up much room, but what a great thing to keep in your EDC, in your get home bag, in your bug out bag, or in your car glove compartment. I'm thinking that mosquito-borne diseases may get worse over the coming years, and so protect yourself, protect your family. If you're going to be out, especially after dusk, use some spray. Just be safe. And make sure you have some of this in your bags and in your home supply, just in case. So this is Pepper Potpourri asking you, do you have bug spray in your prepping supplies? Please comment below. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and I really appreciate your comments. Please subscribe, share the knowledge, and thumbs up if you like this video.